Hello and welcome once again to Punters Inside Run. I'm Matthew Campbell. Great to have your company with us. We've come off an amazing carnival at Flemington and we moved to Cranbourne for the Cranbourne Cup and over to Newcastle for the $1 million race, the Hunter. Mick Sharkie is with me as always. Great to see you, Mick. It's a big week at Flemington, we know that.
Yeah.
But the great thing about our sport is it goes for 52 weeks of the year. We just shifted somewhere else.
Yeah, and the spotlight shifts to some really good provincial tracks. Newcastle's a great track up in New South Wales, and Cranbourne right in the heart of the suburban southeast of Melbourne. I think both tracks are going to attract a bit of a party crowd. There'll be plenty of families out. Let's hope the sun's shining so people can enjoy themselves and back a winner.
That's the plan. James Lamb will join us to talk about that meeting at Cranbourne. Also, Nick H. Well, he's got a well-deserved break, but we've got all his tips for Newcastle, including the Hunter. And later on in the big call, we've got all the tips, all the best bets, including ones with a little bit more colour than usual. But first up, we're at the barriers. And we want to talk about Flemington. We want to talk about the fact that crowds were down a little bit. It was good to have them back. They were down a little bit. The weather wasn't great, but wagering was up. That's always a good sign for racing.
Wagering was very, very strong, wasn't it? Off the back of the COVID period when wagering boomed because nobody else had anything else to do, Matty. But it kept on rolling into a very strong Flemington Carnival, didn't it? And it just sort of puts the icing on the cake for, I guess, all the hopes that the administrators and all the wagering boffins had that people were still keen to get to the track and have a bet. And we saw that in force across the carnival. All
right, out of the carnival, we want a couple of horses that we can follow going forward. The obvious one, I think we both agree, what we saw on the last day at Flemington, is Soulcombe.
Soulcombe was huge, wasn't he? That was a great win in that Queen's Cup. We'd all heard the talk out of Werribee that he was very, very good. Everybody, every man his dog saw the Melrose win from York before he came out. He was utterly dominant, and it was very much in that style, joined in at the right time, put a field of handy stayers away. Some of those horses were in contention for Melbourne Cup and Caulfield Cup positions, and he just dropped them. Chris Waller's got the benefit now of having qualified the horse for next year's Melbourne Cup, just to poke around with him and get him to the race in good health.
And I think joining Soulcombe at the top of the market for the Melbourne Cup is White Marlin. A similar sort of story, a horse that's come from overseas, was impressive winning over the distance.
Yeah, very, very good horse. Look, for mine, he just probably needs to lower his head a little bit in running, gets his head up a little bit and wants to get on with it. Gay Waterhouse and Adrian Bott will have that challenge ahead of them just to get the horse to relax and probably do things at more of a stayer's pace. But when you're blasting fields out of the water by 5.5 lengths over 2,800, you're doing a fairly good job.
I've heard you on radio a few times. You've got strong opinions about stayers in this country, haven't you? That you don't have to be that good to be a very successful stayer.
Well, look at another horse that I want to follow into next season, Matty, Captain Envious. Now, he's come out of winning provincial races. I think it was a benchmark 70 at Geelong, and he runs home and he's basically on the heels of Soulcombe in that Queen's Cup to be placed there in his first prep. I think it's start number 5. So trained by Paul Prusko, who of course had Surprise Baby a few seasons ago. So very much in the mould of Surprise Baby. And I reckon they'll go to the Andrew Ramsden in the new year and try and qualify the horse.
Another one you want to follow is what you used to be in the media world, Climbing Star.
Climbing, yeah, mate, I say climbing. Sliding down the hill now. But Climbing Star, again, lightly raced horse in her first preparation to end up running group placings and to finish off on that final day with a really strong run. Look, she's taking on older mares at her last couple of starts and she's done a really good job. I think we're going to see her really elevate and probably emerge as that dominant 3-year-old filly miler, I think. I think there's some space there for a horse to come through. I think it might be Climbing Star in the autumn.
Final one is one I want to follow. I think Graham Begg might have one in Magic Time.
Oh, yeah.
It was a really good win the last day of the carnival. Just had the 2 runs, won the first race quite easily over Marxist, who won by 5 lengths, and then Marxist came out and won the next race by 10. So I think Graham might have another one.
Oh, absolutely. And what a great story. A smallish sort of stable, but Graham's an incredibly accomplished trainer in his own right. A couple of heartbreak moments during the carnival. Luna Flair missing a Caulfield Cup run, but gets the consolation prize, I guess, with a really nice filly in Magic Time. Yeah, definitely one to follow.
And we talk about moving to the Cranbourne Cup and moving to the Hunter over at Newcastle. How did you find the meetings as far as looking at from a form perspective? Easier or harder than Flemington?
Well, I think with Cranbourne and Newcastle, the trick with them is there's a lot of local stables that target horses at races on this day. And you can go from the undercard right through to the features and find horses that you think, oh yeah, this is 3rd up, 4th up, locally trained. Well, there might be something going on here. I think there's a few at value throughout the day.
All right, we'll be keen to see what James Lamb has for us, including the Cranbourne Cup. He's up next with our Melbourne focus, but that was at the barriers.
the betting brand for sports fans. That's better. Gamble responsibly.
This is Racing in Melbourne. Mick Sharkie is with me as always, and James Lamb from punters.com.au joins us. Lammy, before we get into the Cranbourne Cup, how was your week? Overall, thumbs up, thumbs down? It's a big week.
It's a big week. I'm probably ready for a stint in the spelling paddock now, Matty. But yeah, we started off well last week. You mentioned Salcombe, and a tissue was a very good result. Big plunge. But yeah, we tailed off a little bit with the Group 1s. It was tough going. But yeah, not a bad carnival. We'll say we broke even. That's always the standard response.
I like it. You've beautifully done. What about your overall thoughts of the whole meeting rather than just the Cranbourne Cup?
It's tricky, and the weather makes it even trickier. So Thursday night, potential thunderstorms, and then we've got a bit of rain on Friday and rain on race day as well, which could complicate matters. So yeah, we could be on a very dry track or something close to a soft 7, which makes it difficult. But
not for the first time over spring, is it, Shark? Where we just don't know whether we're going to get good 4 or soft 7. I'm hoping for good 4.
Seems like we're either getting the rain earlier in the week and it's drying out, or we're getting the rain later in the week in time for the weekend. So we just need a bit of consistency.
A couple of our best bets need a good track, I think. Anyway, but let's talk about the Cup. $4.80 the field, but not too many in single figures. Is it a deep field or not?
I think it is. I think it's a pretty strong edition of the race. Almost half of these are coming out of Group 2, Group 1 races, and then you've got a couple from the 5 Diamonds Prelude, which was a decent race in Sydney, won by Ellsberg. So there's form lines all over the place, and yeah, a few things to consider.
Your thoughts, Shark?
Yeah, much the same. I think it's a bit of an arm wrestle at the moment between horses in this field that need genuine given the ground. Buffalo River, Just Folk, probably Visionari, I'd argue as well. Belle Plaisir versus those that want it on the drier side, like Ironclad and horses like that. So Buckhurst at 40 to 1.
You love finding a 40 to 1.
If he got a dry track, he could run a really good race in this with the blinkers back on, but he's just been plagued by wet track. Who would have thought you'd bring a horse all the way out from Ireland looking for dry ground? You think Australia's probably the place for him.
Fine, yeah.
He has not seen a dry track.
No, he's been swimming at Bondi.
I reckon he said maybe one, but yeah, he probably wasn't ready for the race. But yeah, it's just one of those tricky little races. I think Saturday the forecast will tell the story.
How does the race pan out, Lemmy?
Yeah, well, I've gone with Visionari. Third up, it does need to improve, but I think it is the horse that's on the up. A lot of these are sort of either this is a bit of an afterthought or they're at the tail end of their prep. Horses like Uncle Bryn who have been up for a long time. Visionari just might be the right horse at the right time. Plain win first up. I know it won, but people weren't overly impressed with that win at Flemington, and then struck a heavy 8 at the Valley last time. So I think third up, from a good draw, it probably sits just off the speed. It might be the horse that's ready to peak, and from a astute yard as well. I think they've targeted this race for it.
I've got a funny feeling, yeah, that they've got a really high opinion of this horse, and this might be the race for it. So you landed on there. Where did you land with your top 3?
So Visionari on top. Uncle Bryn, but needs a dry track. As I said, it's been up for a long time, so I think if it got a wet track, it's probably a run too far. If it's bone dry like it was at Sale when it won in devastating fashion 2 back, it's probably a challenger. And no effort. It's a mare I've always had a lot of time for. I just love the way she goes about it. She races on speed, wet or dry. She has actually been freshened up for this race.
First up record isn't great, so...
that is the query, but Gavin Bedgood said that, I've kept her ticking over, so she's not really off a long break. I think it's about 70 days, and loves Cranbourne, horses for courses, 2 wins and 3 placings. So, yeah, she's one that if she gets a wet track, she's in the mix for sure.
Yeah, and he's going all right too, Gavin. He's training beautifully. Where did you land? Are you with or against Visionari?
Hedging my bets a little between wet and dry. I went with Ironclad.
You want it
Will
dry?
Clark, and yeah, I want it dry for him. But I thought he was great first up on a wet track where he was a long way back. He started blending into the race. Just probably peaked, I reckon, at the 200, but stayed on well. And there was a little gap there, the third, which I didn't mind. I think this is probably one of those target races for him, an achievable goal during the back end of the spring. I put Belle Plaisir.
Good, because I put it in for third, so it wasn't a bad run in the Empire Road.
She probably conversely wants it wet.
Wet.
So we're sort of a little bit each way with the top 2. Visionari's going to be hard to beat as well, obviously. It's a great map, isn't it, Lammy, for that horse in that race. You can settle first third of the field with room to move. Daniel Moore's...
Well, they're going to go along pretty quick early, so they should just be able to slide in.
Yeah, so I think they're the key.
Well, I'm very similar. I've gone with Visionary on top, same as James. I've got Uncle Brin for second, and then Belle Plaisir in for third, as you mentioned, off that run behind Ice Bath. So we're all around the sort of mark for the Cranbourne Cup, so that's probably not a good thing. But anyway, your best bets for the whole day?
Yeah, best bet, race 4, number 4, Greece. And
Got to be dry.
It's got to be dry. They've scratched her 3 or 4 times since her debut, not her maiden win, sorry, her maiden win at Geelong, where she won by 4 lengths and did it on her ear. But yeah, they keep scratching her from wet track. So if we get to a soft 6, they'll probably take her out again. But if it's dry, she just looks too good for these from barrier 1. The only other speed horse in the race is Calico Jack, who's from the same stable. So I can't imagine they'd want to get in a speed battle. So I'm hoping she just runs straight to the front and will be too hard to catch around Cranbourne.
Wouldn't you be filthy if you had a 3-year-old lightly raced and you look at this race at the Cranbourne Cup Day, 150 grand, we'll just go there, it'll be like a benchmark 6, and you run into Greece.
Yeah.
Fair Dinkum was an early favourite for the Golden Slipper,
Yeah.
could have been favourite for a Coolmore had it gone around there, it would have been hard in the market, and you're running into it at Cranbourne.
Is that your best bet of the day as well?
I think so. As long as she gets the right ground, I think she'll blow them away.
It's a trifecta for us all, like Greece there. I've never actually finished the whole movie, so let's talk about something else. Your other bets, mate, before we...
Yeah, in case Greece doesn't get a run, I'll be waiting until race 9, number 2, Arran Bay, around the $4 quote. It's got 60 kilos even after the claim, but I just think it's the class horse in this race. It deserves that weight. I just love its form around Cardinal Gem, Literary Magnate and Jimmy the Bear as well. That sort of form has stacked up this spring. First up off a little break, and the wide gate might be an issue, but if it rains and they're coming middle or outside, it won't be an issue. I think Arran Bay will be too good for them.
Anything else from you?
Scissor Step in the 8th.
Okay.
I like it. Good first up win at the Valley. Look, if these win, we might be in the magic car flying off into the clouds.
The great thing is, James mentioned he needs a break. If these win, he's got some spending money for Japan, mate. So thank you for that. You're having a little break over the next couple of weeks.
I am, yeah,
You're going
3
to Japan,
weeks.
one of the best places in the world.
No, it'd be good to maybe get the quaddie and finance a few nights out in Tokyo.
Mate, enjoy. James Lamb from punters.com.au. He's off to Japan. We're sending him off a winner, but that's racing in Melbourne. Next up, we're racing in Sydney. Well, we're racing in Newcastle.
The betting brand for sports fans. That's better. Gamble responsibly.
This is racing in Sydney. We're just up the road at Newcastle for the $1 million The Hunter. Another race that's been put on with a lot of prize money. Has attracted a very good field. But from the point of view, Mick, Sharkie, is that you look at the betting. There's only 3 runners in single figures. One of them is number 20, the 4th emergency. So probably unlikely to get a run in Wahaha Falls.
Yeah.
So is this a difficult race, or where do the form lines come from?
I think it's very difficult.
I think it is.
I think there's enough speed in the race. For a horse like In the Congo, he could probably get control of the race. Certainly, he's the early favourite at this point in the game, and he didn't get that control last start in the Golden Eagle when Mr. Mozart just pestered him throughout the race. He still kicked 2 lengths clear at the top of the straight, so that tells me that he's going really well. He just wasn't able to sustain that pestering by the diggers there in Mr. Mozart in the Golden Eagle. But I think if he gets control of the race, he's the most likely winner. But Overpass, good on speed horse, drawn wide. There's a couple of others there that...
Does Overpass have to come across?
I think he probably does. Expat's another one that's drawn a wide gate, has good speed. She probably comes across as well. There might be a few to go up and keep him company.
I'm hoping Valana can sort of... there wasn't much between them in the Golden Eagle, and Valana was drawn 20 that day. So
just had no hope from the gate, did it?
You couldn't do it. It just had to go back, and there was less than a length between the two. So I'm hoping Valana from 9. Hopefully Nash can just get in and find a much closer spot with In the Congo in the sights.
Yes, exactly. And there's horses like 1111, Gem Song. Both of them ran really well first up. Both of them really improved second up. So yeah, this would obviously be a target race for horses like that. 1111 en route probably to the Magic Millions again in January, where he's run so well.
All right, Nick H is having a quick break from punters.com.au. He sent through his top 3 for the Hunter. He's got In the Congo on top of Apache Chase and Valana, so numbers that were all sort of around the similar. So that's his 3. So he agrees with you that In the Congo controls the race. What are your top 3?
Yeah, and Apache Chase in there as well, another good on-speed horse. So I'm with In the Congo on top. I've been backing Brutality, Matty. every time. He's going to win something good this
First
preparation.
emergency, hopefully
he
gets a start.
needs to sneak into this field. Otherwise, I think they might go to the gong next week. But he is absolutely busting to win a race. And Valana, I'm putting in next best. It just draws a lot better this time around, and Nashua with the sticks.
Yeah, I'm with Valana on top, ahead of Apache Chase, who, it's a Group 1 winner at this distance and hoping for a firmer track at Newcastle and at 11.11. Tricky barrier, comes from the Manikato, but just beaten by Apache Chase in that Group 1. So they're my numbers for the Hunter. So we're all reasonably similar.
We're around the mark, aren't we?
Nick H has his best bets. He's got race 2, number 5. He's going with the Dramatist. He's not here, so it doesn't really make sense. But also his value bet is in race 7, number 9, So You Battle. But we don't battle because we're tipping.
No, we don't. Yes, always winners. That's all we want.
Well, that's it for racing at Newcastle. Coming up, it is all the tips in the big call, including some that have got a little bit more colour, a little bit more excitement.
The betting brand for sports fans. That's better. Gamble responsibly.
This is the big call on Punters Inside Run, where we recap all the tips for all the meetings around Australia, come up with all sorts of combinations. Shark, why don't you kick us off with James Lamb's tips for the meeting at Cranbourne?
Rightio. The Laminator in the Cranbourne Cup. He's with Visionary, number 9, ahead of Uncle Bryn, number 6, and No Effort, number 10. I reckon there's value in No Effort.
Okay.
His best bet at Cranbourne's race 4, number 4, Greece, and his next best is race 9, number 10, Arran Bay.
Yeah, I'm with him on both of those. Nick H couldn't be with us, but he dropped through his tips. In the $1 million race, the Hunter, he's with number 5 in the Congo, ahead of number 1, Apache Chase, and number 6, Valana. And his best bet of the day is early, race 2, number 5, the Dramatist. And then the value is a little bit later on, race 7, number 9, So You Battle. All right, this is the moment we've been waiting for, Shark. Your tips and your best bets.
Right, my top 3 in the Cranbourne Cup, Matty. I'm with number 7, Ironclad, ahead of number 11, Belle Plaisir, and number 9, Visionary. My best at Cranbourne, Light Lammy, race 4, number 4, Greece. I reckon there's good value in race 8, number 6, Scissor Step. Great win first up. The Hunter, my top 3 in the Congo, number 5, ahead of number 17, Brutality, and number 6, Valana. Now, I've given you something special this week.
Have you?
A same race multi.
Oh, Shark, same race. This is the first, because you've never done one before.
No, I haven't. I've never done one before.
I've pen at the ready.
I've got Visionary to get more than 20 disposals and Belle Plaisir to kick 2. No, I got you.
You got me.
Ironclad to run top 4 and Belle Plaisir to run top 4. I think they'll both finish in the top 4.
All right, Ironclad and Belle Plaisir. I love it. 20 disposals. My tip in the Cranbourne Cup, very similar. I've got Visionary on top, ahead of Uncle Bryn and Belle Plaisir. My best bet is also Greece, so we're all on Greece. And I've got on a value bet a little bit later on, race 9, number 9, Caesar. I'm getting confused. Wasn't Caesar something to do with Rome, not Greece? Who cares?
So.
My geography's no good.
Good salad.
Yeah, in the Hunter, Valana ahead of Apache Chase and 11.11, so 6, 1 and 3 in Hunter. And I've got something new for you as well.
What's that?
A quaddie.
Oh dear.
Yep.
We know how your quaddies go.
Yeah, 3 legs in a second is a moral. All right, here, take the numbers down. First leg, 1, 2, 4, 7, 10. 2, 5, 6, 9, 11. 1, 6, 8, 10. And then 2, 5, 7, 9. It's about 25%
You know what?
for a $100 investment.
I reckon you'll get that.
I love the fact that you've been saying that for as long as I've known you, and it never happens. Thank you,
Confidence
mate.
lost, everything
I'm
lost.
looking forward to that same race multi.
Yeah, odds are I'm taking it. I'm going to break the duck on the same race multi this weekend.
Thank you, Michael Sharkie, as always.
On you, Matty.
And thank you for joining us on Punters Inside Run. Don't forget, subscribe below if you want to catch us next week. I'm Matthew Campbell. See you then.